Okay, I must have hit it because that was my laptop, and I probably hit it on the laptop. I never used that thing. I might have hit it trying to make my screen so I could see. So I'm just going to stream you through. Just give me a second. What I'm going to do is stream you through Zoom and share Zoom to all the other platforms. That's our plan B. So just give me a second to put it together.
We're still a good split screen?
Yeah, don't touch that because that's perfect. I'm just going to
absolutely won't touch anything.
Yeah. Let me just set it up. Okay. Now let me join on my other computer. I'm gonna leave the Zoom room so I can set it up on YouTube, and just give me about 3 minutes to share it on all the other platforms and so everybody knows to join this one. I'm gonna leave Zoom and come back. I'm gonna give host rights. Hold on, we're not offline. We're not offline. So there is no need for me to do this. It still has us online. Oh God, AY, you're gonna have to do better to help me. It still has us online. Brain functions and treatment is still online. Do y'all see it? Now we're online twice. Hold on, guys. Let me get to, I see I got to, y'all got to do better to help me.
Does that mean we get to double down on our audience?
Oh God, I done messed up. Hold on, y'all. I done got two. Oh my God. I'm sorry.
Doesn't matter.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I messed up. Let me, hold up, anxiety. Let me breathe. Y'all got to do better to help me. Hold on. Hold on. Breath. Hold on, Dr. McBride. Let me calm down.
Inshallah, Allah, khair.
Okay, hold on. I'm panicking. Hold on. I'm having a panic attack. Okay, hold on. I don't know what to do. Think, Layla, what to do. Think. Okay, hold on. Let me close this. Let me close this string that I just created.
Yeah.
Is that what I do? Close the one I just
created. I didn't need to do this. Because if that's the additional, let's start with the additional.
Get rid of the addition because I was not offline.
Yeah.
So what do I do? Close it. Go. Calm down. Okay, so how do I close? AY, how do I close it?
Is there an X?
How do I stop the stream? AY, come on, help me. How do I stop this stream that I didn't need?
Just breathe.
How do I stop it?
I don't know. But
I can't think right now. I'm panicking.
Don't panic because I think the second one.
Okay, am I the host?
You are the host.
Okay, how do I stop this stream that I just created?
I forgot. Where? The Zoom?
Yeah, I didn't need to create a new stream. Go click on, okay, calm down. I got it, Dr. McBride. Let me go on here. How do we stop the host? I am host, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. McBride, Ustream, click on this. How do I stop this? Okay, why come I can't stop it? More, live stream. Stop. Why come it's not letting me stop if I'm the host? which computer is hosted? Wait a minute, let me look on this one. More. Hold on. YouTube. Hold on. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. AWA. How can I stop that? More. AWA. How do I stop the host?
Don't
stream.
stop it. Why you try to stop it?
Because we're logged in twice.
Maybe you're the only one who see we log in twice, but
okay.
on YouTube we only log. I mean, it still say live stream offline. You live, but it's frozen and it's only show his PowerPoint.
Okay, go to YouTube. Refresh your screen. There's two of us, and it's sending a double message to the servers. I can't be logged in twice. We're confusing internet. Go to YouTube. Refresh your screen. Refresh. We're logged in twice. It says, oh, here's Dr. McBride, and then it says brain functions and treatment. We got to cancel one of this because we are confusing the internet. We're logged in twice. I got to close one of these up because the internet is going crazy. It doesn't know which one to send it to.
Which one was the first one you turned on? Dr. McBride?
The first one, it says brain function and treatment.
Yeah.
It never closed up.
Right.
Let me see if I can cancel it because I can't. Let me cancel something. Let me try something. I'm panicking, and when I get anxiety, I go crazy.
You see two.
Yes, it's two of them in the internet, and what I see is true because I'm the one controlling the internet. Okay, let me see if I can cut off this one, and I don't know what's going to happen when I do this. We're going to probably disconnect and blow up the internet. Seriously, I'm blowing up the internet right now. Bam, it's blown up. I don't know if we're even live at all now.
We can start over again. It only takes what, 5-10 minutes?
That's what I had to do to disconnect something now, though. I don't know where we are. I don't know what's going on because I don't know. I can't stop our stream.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. And she says I'm the host. I can't even stop this.
What does
okay, now I found it. I just did something.
Oh, okay.
I did something.
Good.
I stopped it. I blew that out.
Excellent.
Okay. Dr. McBride is live. Okay. Okay, let's see. Y'all got to help me a little better. Y'all know I can't do this. I'm not an octopus. Okay. Okay.
And this is the side-by-side screen?
Now we're nothing. We're just you. It's no scratch. You can work on your sharing now. Yeah, work on sharing. Well, I just took us off. It's just three people logged in, and it's just us on YouTube.
Okay.
We're not on nothing. So yeah, you can set up now. I think I blew us all over.
Sharing is not turned on. We want to share.
Who's host? Me? Now, yeah. Okay, let me make you host. I mean co-host.
Share. And you said the side-by-side.
There you go. Now you're a co-host. Now you can set up.
Share.
Now I'm getting ready to share us to the other platforms. While you work on
it looked like I was side-by-side.
There you go. That looks side-by-side. Okay, good. Yeah, see how to do that? Oh, that's beautiful. That's perfect. Because we're just using plain Zoom. Okay, but now I got to, hold on. Let me go on YouTube with this computer and just manually. Oh, God. But it's not showing up like that side-by-side. We'll figure that out. Let me just share you on other platforms right now. Because it's not going through my streaming program, but that's okay. If we don't have no shorts, we just won't have shorts. That's okay. But I just want to get you shared. Oh, those shorts are usually a big hit too. That's too bad. They are. I know, but for some reason, I don't know what done happened. I don't know what happened. I have to figure that out. Like I said, I don't know what happened. It's not. You have to click on. Stop sharing. You're at the top. I wish you could see what I see. Let's make this bigger.
Oh, no, let's make that smaller and make this bigger there. No, that's not what I want. Bigger. I want this bigger. That's not getting
Your
bigger.
shorts are the hits, like you say.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm
Where
gonna do with
is that? We've got that. Go up that
Oh,
way.
doing
Oh,
something.
here
You
it is.
did something. But anyway, I'm
Yeah.
gonna share you to the other
Mute my
platforms.
audio, rename. I can't find it. It's not giving me enough of a size thing to pick the share this time. Oh, let me try this. There we go. Found it. Okay, now you want me to do, okay, my share button is green. It's a go, I believe. Share side by side. Boom, boom, boom. That should be good. There. Is that it?
Wait a minute. I'm trying to put you on the other platforms. I'm gonna look at
Okay.
that. Next time, what I'm gonna do is have you join my streaming program.
You
Because when
got
I
it.
join, have you in the streaming program, then you can work it from that.
Oh, where you send me the link?
Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
new program I'm using. I'll have you
Okay.
join the new streaming program next
Mhm.
time. I think with you, that's what we're gonna have to do because we're gonna have to do it that way until we can figure out how to get you side by side. Okay, I'm manually sharing you. I got you on all the platforms manually. Okay. But if I had you're perfect here. I wonder if I can set hold on, let me try my settings. Hold on. My setting here is, I got you side by side speaker. Okay. All right. Well, you can just go ahead and start. We're going to figure this out I don't know. We'll figure it out some other time, but we'll figure it out. Just go ahead and, unfortunately, we'll get started. Just go ahead and get started.
Everyone's audio is on and video and stuff. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is Dr. Daniel Abdurrahman McBride. Today, we will be continuing our talk about the lobes and their functions and how to stimulate them. 2 weeks ago, we talked about the frontal lobe and the parietal lobe and how they interact. And what we're going to talk about is the parietal lobe, the temporal lobe, and how the parietal lobe and temporal lobe act together. Now, these are areas right here. As a reminder, front, executive decision making. We went over some stuff, how to stimulate it, what it does, how to stimulate it, why you would want to stimulate it. And that's right here at the top. Then we went over the parietal lobe with the same information and how that functions. And it's really important to remember the parietal lobe. You don't have to remember the name, but this area of your brain right here is your sensory area. And then you've got sensory associated with movement going forward into your frontal lobe and your motor units. Then you've got sensory going back into your hearing and your vision. And then you got sensory going down into your temporal lobes, and both of these contribute to vision also. So you've got sensory hearing, sensory vision, and sensory vision, okay? And this sensory stuff, that is the foundation for so much of what I do, what we do in the office. If you can't feel the body part, then you can't control it. And that's the importance of the parietal lobe and that sensation, internal sensations, external sensations, whether you're full, whether you're not full, whether it's hot outside, whether it's cold outside. And they talk about that kind of sixth sense, especially with the right hemisphere is strong, that sixth sense on how to read a room, how to read people. The left hemisphere doesn't do a good job of sensing other people. The left hemisphere is really in tune with itself, but not so much the function of itself, if that makes sense. So this is really important. And this is important Let me tell you a story about today, even literally. And I say I did, we did. Of course, it's always within the quarter of Allah. Allah made the plan. He gave us the abilities. Literally, I had a boy, a patient today. Today's the second day, third day, and young, young boy, and really, really, mashallah, beautiful kid. Really, really nice, very energetic, and we're fine tuning stuff with what we do with autism. And his mother happened to tell we're talking while we're giving treatment. We're together for an hour, and in this case, it's 2 hours during the day. We're together for the first hour of his treatment, and then they go rest, they eat, they come back later, and they do a second hour. His mother mentions that he's been constipated 3-5 days going, and she did a stomach protocol. Those of you that have autistic kids, there's a lot of stuff on the internet. Straighten out the diet, straighten out the stomach, the gut, brain axis. Hugely important, but the gut does not stand alone by itself. The brain is involved with everything. We've been working on his brain for 3 days now. And today, during the first session of the two, she mentions that he's been constipated for 3 days, at least 3 days. I want to say a full 5, but I know it was at least 3. So that's important. She gave us a background on the gut history, and they visited specialists in Texas. They visited specialists even here where I am in Melbourne, where my office is, and they say everything's there. They've done the camera stuff. They've done everything. Everything's there. They can't figure out why it's not working. We're working on his brain and his brain controlling his digestive system. Autistic kids are almost always emotionally dominant, which turns digestion off. We're working on the right hemisphere to ramp him down, turn the emotions down a little bit. I explained to her, we do some stuff with digestion. So what we did was, if any of you know the vagus term, the vagus nerve, vagus, that controls relaxation, digestion, all of that relaxation stuff. So I used the vagus setting with my laser. And what we did was we massaged his abdominal cavity for a couple minutes. Then I lasered on vagus setting, because whenever you eat, that's what they talk about. Y'all know comfort eating. Even if you don't do it, you've heard of it. What happens is people that eat and they say it helps them relax is because the minute you start smelling, the minute you start tasting it, if your digestive system turns on, salivation is a good example. If you start preparing, your body starts preparing to eat, then vagus is in charge of that, the vagus nerve. So that vagus nerve turns on, and digestion includes everything from salivating and eating to going to the bathroom after you eat to get rid of the waste products. All of that is part of your digestive system. If you are emotionally driven, your vagus tone or your vagus is low, your emotions are high, and not all of your digestive system will work. In a lot of people's cases, it will be, even adults, it will be constipation. So this little boy is constipated and they can't figure out why. So and the diet did help him. She changed his diet years ago, and that helped a lot, but he still gets constipated a lot. I massaged for a couple minutes, then I lasered over the entire abdomen on the vagus setting. The massage helps send a physical sensation into the intestines. One of the largest organs of your body is your large and small intestines, huge, like they say 3 miles long. So I'm massaging his abdomen, showing his mother so that she can do it too, and dad also. So I'm massaging, and that kind of turns it on. Sensation, right? Stimulation. Because it's not working top down. Let's get it stimulated bottom up. And then I lasered him for 2 minutes in the morning. They had lunch, they relaxed. They came back for the afternoon session, and he hadn't gone potty yet. So we did the same thing. At the end of the therapy, I massaged same way. And then we finished with the large intestine up, over, down, and out a couple times. And we massaged it. Then we lasered for 2 minutes. What do we say? Wallahi, we get a text when his mother gets back home, because they live a couple hours away and they drive over. She sends us a text to my partner. And she says, My partner says here, this is for you. And the mother, she's a doctor also, medical doctor over there. And she says, tell Doc he had to potty the minute he got in the house. He literally ran, had his first bowel movement in 3 days. And that's the only thing we changed. It's really cool that it probably wasn't just the abdominal work. That was the final straw, the icing on the cake, so to speak. We've been ramping up this side so his brain is more aware of his entire body on the right side. That's aware of both sides. The left is just the right. So now his brain is more aware. It takes control more and it realizes, holy cow, there's a lot in here and it should be gone. That's going to the bathroom. And she confirmed it because they had just gotten back from a medical doctor. They did an X-ray of his abdomen, and he was packed. And she said it was a lot. And she knows how to read X-rays. He explained the X-rays. She's looking at the X-rays with the other MD, and they were like, "Wow, this is packed." And literally, he pottied, and it was that's a really really cool thing to have happen. The icing on the cake was nice. And we got that text. Like I said, it was a couple hours drive. And literally when they got home and he came out the bathroom, she had to text us right away, tell Doc he had a bowel movement. And she said pooped. I laughed because I usually use that word too. But it was really good news. And that is how important, even though this stuff gets boring and technical, literally that's what we do. And it's the brain and the body. It's like when we talk about, now we're going to tie that body sensation, right, and that awareness. And it's also really cool because not just self-awareness, it's also aware of your surroundings and visual. They say Einstein, the biggest change in his brain was only teeny tiny, believe it or not. They opened it up, they measured it, they sliced it up, they measured everything. The biggest change was just a little bit more glial cells. Don't worry what they are. They help the neurons function. So he had more glial cells over here, and that's very important, and I'll cover it in a sec. This area called the parietal temporal occipital junction. Remember I said parietal sensation and awareness, temporal for sound and vision, parietal for vision, and occipital lobe for vision. So this kind of sees that 3D model in your head. Einstein and Brother Timothy, if you're here tonight, Khalid ibn Walid probably had a real gift for this. Now, with the temporal lobe, because we've covered the parietal lobe before, but remember, parietal, temporal, occipital area. Now, the temporal lobe, remember, both of these parietal lobe and temporal lobes, hugely important division. Occiput, when you look at occiput, visual spatial processing, distance, depth, visual memory, object and facial recognition. Literally, it sees things and it feeds it forward because the facial recognition and object recognition is really strongly tied into the posterior lower temporal lobe. That ties into the occiput. That's where you get facial recognition. If I can be super shallow with the occiput. The occiput is vision. You see it, you recognize some colors and stuff, you try to get the depth perception, and once all of those happen, doom, 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 really quickly, it pushes it forward. Your parietal lobe tries to figure out where it is, how fast it's coming in, is it dangerous, do I catch it, do I duck out of the way? Your temporal lobe processes the vision information, and that's slower acting. That then tries to figure out what is it? Is it pointy? What color is it? What's it feel like? What's it look like it feels like? What's the texture? What's the material? It's really cool that these lobes are really integrated into vision. Then they decide things. They flick it up into the executive area with your motor actions. The parietal lobe says, man, that's big, that's fast, that's sharp, duck, right? The temporal lobe then says, okay, that's the shape, or it might look at something on the ground. Is it safe to touch? Is it sharp to touch? This part of your vision, the temporal stream, is slower, more detailed. Parietal, super, super fast. Oh my gosh, that's that fast stuff. What do I do right now to stay alive stuff? So with the temporal and the occiput is pretty much done right there, but we'll cover some stimulations for that. But that's how important it is to understand the our patient going to the bathroom today after days. Why, knowing what the brain does and how it ties in, what we can do to help the entire body, and then how this part can stimulate up here also. Because if this isn't working enough, send in messages down here through the intestinal tract for vagus nerve, and that will stimulate bottom up rather than top down. And then top down makes a decision and it said, yeah, you got to go. The temporal lobe. Some of the functions are interpretation of sound, understanding verbal and written material, visual perception, the what is it view. Then it helps to encode memory. As a side note, for those of you who might remember or have heard of it, the hippocampus is deep in your temporal lobes, like this kind of deep down in the middle. So the memory is hugely important for the temporal lobe is hugely important for memory. And it's also because, or not because, but some of the temporal stuff is literally the details of everything. And details help improve memory. When you meet someone, try to remember what they look like, attach their name to the hijab, attach their name to where they came from, attach the name to the conversation. The more details you encode, the stronger you make your memory because you're stimulating new learning pathways, even if it's just meeting someone or learning a new direction. I saw this beautiful white building. I saw this ugly brown building. I prefer the brick buildings and brown colors with that. The big glass windows. Oh my gosh, what they sell over there. Try to encode as much memory, as much detail as you can, and you encode memory using that detail function of the temporal lobes to improve memory. What else? The last thing in the functions of the temporal lobe, hugely important, emotional processing. You don't have to remember this, but your anterior cingulate is right there deep in your temporal lobes. It's in front of and kind of goes around your hippocampus, so your memory centers. Your smell center is right there. That's why memories of childhood experiences and cooking in the kitchen and for anyone from another country, man, you smell something and you're like, boop, back where you were born. Me, it's just maybe back in the cold winter in upstate New York. But the idea is it's that cookies and cake stuff when mom's baking. I remember memories and fireplaces when my mother got remarried and my stepfather moved us into this beautiful, beautiful home. We had a gigantic fireplace, upstate New York. It snowed and we lived on a hill. Beautiful fireplace. So fireplaces, when I smell that, not as frequently here in Florida, but they stimulate memory. Okay. And it's tied to emotions. So if you can get details and some kind of emotional attachment, that's why you remember things from the age of generally after 3. You remember things from childhood. And when people start to lose their memory, it's most recent to backwards because of a lot of it has to do with that emotional attachment and that ingraining of those details for that many years. So I recommend some of the things you can do. We do a lot of laser for that. Absolutely. We're lasering, like I said today, with the abdominal cavity. We did the brain, and then we closed it out with 4-5 minutes of abdominal massage and laser, but we laser almost everything. Like I said, the contraindications are pretty much only 2. If you have cancer in the area and you're pregnant, because you don't want to out of sequence and energize the fetal development. And cancer, you don't want to give cancer cells any more energy. So we do a lot of laser over everything again, a lot of audio stimulation. As we've talked about before with hemisphericity, if you're for me, the right hemisphere, from my view, the left hemisphere, then what you want to do is audio stimulation. If you want to stimulate your right hemisphere, sound in the left ear. And that's what we're working on with the young man the young boy I was talking about today. Audio stimulation in the left ear, because that crosses over to make sure both hemispheres are aware of the sound. Memory games are really, really, really cool. Olfactory smell training, olfactory stimulation. Olfactory is a big word for smell. That's your the science word for smell centers. Olfactory training, again, what you do, like I did with this is really cool. Like I mentioned earlier, this is called Hinoki. I really like this smell, and there's some research in China in particular. Did I say Japan or China earlier? I think I meant Japan, China. No, Japan. Japanese false cypress. This is really cool for ADHD, and memory is hugely important. So I like this smell. It's called Japanese false cypress. Smells like a cypress tree. Like when I'm up and up, literally, it's like the trees that went across along the road in my front yard. Pine trees almost. This is also, for some reason, Japanese false cypress. Some of the research shows that this improves attention and control, your frontal lobes. And it's also a smell. So if you're going to smell and you want to stimulate the right hemisphere, you smell in the right nostril. That's the one sense that doesn't cross over. If you're going to smell and stimulate the left hemisphere, you stimulate and smell through the left nostril. Okay. And then, of course, I'm doing both because I want that thing locked in. And like I said, I'm almost always thinking of growing up whenever I smell it. I got to tell you, it is like clockwork. When I smell this, I think about pine trees and where I grew up. It's that important. And that was quite a few decades ago. So think about what I'm telling you here, and think about someone in our history who is the greatest general in the history of the world. As far as we're talking about number of winning battles, Brother Timothy, you can tell us. It is literally Khalid bin Walid, and there's still these major secular war colleges and most war universities and most soldier schools, elite officer, that officer stuff. They study Khalid bin Walid, radiallahu anh, and his techniques. And they, of course, the secularists, they attribute everything to how smart he was, how technically advanced he was in his thinking, how diverse he was, how he planned. They look at it from a very secular technical side, technology back in the day, right? Of course, we know he had the name Saifullah. So all the credit, alhamdulillah, goes to Allah. And in his case, with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam giving him that name, we know where that power came from. With us, it's always the qadr of Allah, and that was his motivation. And it's really cool. There's one story, one battle against the Romans that was actually 3 battles. The Romans were coming together from 3 different directions. And Khalid determined that if they came together, it was going to be Allah knows best. He didn't want that to happen. He figured at that point we lose because he doesn't know the outcome. The qadr of Allah is in charge of everything. So Khalid is a great example of planning. The Prophet ﷺ planned when he made the trip to Medina from Mecca with Abu Bakr radiallahu anh. They plan this stuff. They do everything they can, knowing that Allah gave them the ability to plan, do everything they can, and then rely on the qadr of Allah. Like Khalid said, there are worse things for Muslims, for a believer, than death. So he went into every battle, he said, searching for death. As a warrior, it makes sense. As a Muslim warrior. The idea is, though, think about what he did with these Romans. He knew if they came together, he thought, man, if they come together, we're going to take a beating. So what he did was, and think about what I told you about the parietal in awareness, not just of self, but of everything else. Strong right hemisphere. Really cool because he's probably balanced, leaning left a little. Then he could put the details together of what he knew. And then what I just mentioned about Einstein, picture Khalid bin Walid on the battlefield. He knew, he could see in his mind the geography, which is very important in this story. Khalid bin Walid, radiallahu anh, knew the path that this 1/3 of the army was going to take, that 1/3 of the Roman army, and that 1/3, and they were planning on meeting over here. So Khalid decides, he puts together his battle plan, and he takes his entire army and he says, this is the plan. We're going to attack, we'll label it just A, B, and C of the Romans. A, B, and C. He said A is going to get this far first. So what we're going to do, this is genius. Picture, he could see this stuff. He said, this is how many men they have. This is how long it takes for those men to march. This is where they're going to set up because this is the nearest watering hole based on that timing, the oasis stuff. So he literally broke his army up into 3 and attacked the 1. And the story I was reading actually goes, Khalid said, I'm going to get here, you get over there, you get over there, and this is what we're going to do. Khalid's group, these guys said the Romans set up at night around the watering hole. And of course, as a military, he knows what they're going to do. They're relying on size, they're relying on this, whatever they want to say, and their weapons and their training. Khalid says, this is what we're going to do. We're going to bolt right in there, kill as many people as we go through, disturb them as much as we can at night after they settle in. So his cavalry comes riding through and just creates havoc. They come in wide and loud. And of course, they get right through the defenses. I mean, this is an all-out attack with only 1/3. He blows through the Romans, fighting. These guys make such a scene and continues right through. The Romans are like, oh my gosh, it's a small raiding party, you guys. Mount up and get out there, and foot soldiers, get your sandals on and run them down. Chase after them. Get on this stuff. They go running through, not in formation, not in anything. They come through chasing Khalid and his cavalry. What do? They run right into an ambush. They get completely encircled and trapped, all that stuff. Khalid's cavalry turns around. Now they're in total disarray. Boom, he wipes them out, and they run. They literally don't engage in a long-term battle. They just kill almost everybody real fast because now the cavalry turns around. These guys get run into, and they've already been sandwiched. Picture the parietal sensing of self and the awareness of your surroundings. I'm telling you, picture that feeling you get. You know where it is even when you're walking through your house in the dark. Khalid had that literally awareness, that vision. He could see where they were going to be. He knew the layout of the land. He studied it too, right? I mean, you can't just guesstimate all the time. But he did the math in his head. He knew the surrounding. He knew how far they could get. He knew they'd have to set up here to make that final step, right? Goes right through and wipes them right out. Boom, hits the second. Then he tells his guys, okay, go. And they break up again and they attack Group B the same way. Then he says, okay, now this is where these guys are going to be. Now they're going to be all by themselves. We're going to hit them just before they get to the battlefield, before they expect the other 2 guys to meet up, because you could be off by half a day or a day. The Romans weren't as precise as Khalid was. Ready, lock, one. So the Muslims get to party C. They've already done A. They're not coming. They've already done B. They're not coming. They attack C and completely wipe them out. And that was another 200,000 to 30,000. And they just blew through it because of that vision and his attention to detail. So think about what takes place. That vision is usually the strongest over here, like research shows Einstein's was. He had more glial cells, and he had just a few more cells, neurons up here, just a few, not hardly anything. The big thing is glial cells, if you want to look the word up, Glial. They help nourish and clean and help neurons function, is their main activity. They do a lot of stuff for caretaking in the brain, and I'm generalizing. And then you've got the vision, and then you've got the attention to detail. And again, the right hemisphere, the big picture, the goal, the left hemisphere, the details, the minutia of the planning. This pays attention to the time frame, the minute by minute, the days, the miles per hour, if I can say it that way, that horses can travel, footmen can travel, how long it's going to take somebody. He measured out the Romans, he measured out his guys, and that's the temporal lobe and parietal parietal lobe working together. And again, like I said, that PTO area, parietal, temporal, occipital area coming together. And then, of course, the frontal lobe making all these grand, great, beautiful, mashallah, executive decisions. That's how it should work when it's well balanced. It's literally, like I said, it's that combination of being blessed, in his case, with these superpowers. Imagine in the sense that when we talk about autism, imagine that strong left hemisphere with its attention to details. But the awareness is off on the right hemisphere. That's what most of, like, some scholars say, brain scholars. Some research, a lot of the research shows that 90% of autism is a left hemisphere strength or left hemisphere dominance. Okay. That's the initiation. That's the attention to details. That's the fine motor skills. The problem with the fine motor skill part is now the the right hemisphere is the awareness side. All right. That's the awareness side. So imagine you've got this brilliant verbal, that's left hemisphere, this brilliant verbal skill set, words and communication. The problem is this right side awareness is weak, particularly in the parietal lobe. This right side is weak. You can't even use your comprehension skills in the right temporal area, understanding facial recognition, tone recognition, understanding the big picture of a sentence, a paragraph in a book. Why'd the author write it? You may understand the words. Like right now, we're working with another boy. He wasn't speaking. He was only speaking a little bit. We've been dealing with that for about 3 months. Literally, we'll say a word. It's the most amazing thing. He spelled the word through the other day. Through. He can actually read. The same boy I might have told you the story about the word lavender. My partner, Noemi, was reading L-A-V, and he's saying each letter afterwards, and we can't tell whether he's just echolalic, meaning repeating after her, or he can read. And she said D, and then he said ER. He didn't say the D. He said the ER. So he read it by himself. Imagine that skill set, superpower. This boy just turned 5. Just turned 5. He is reading, but he doesn't have the self-awareness yet to control all of the muscles you need to speak. And we're working on that too, vibing his face and stuff to stimulate the sensation and the awareness side. Imagine with autism, you've got that superpower, the attention to details, the verbal skill set, but you can't get it out. How frustrating is that? And why do they have meltdowns? Why do they have meltdowns? When people are talking and they don't listen to you, they don't give you a chance to speak. You're trying to talk. We get frustrated, don't we? Imagine it's been going on for years. And I got to tell you, like I said, he's literally looking for the letters. We say a word, he looks for the letters and puts them on the board. Who does that? And he wasn't before. It's mashallah. And it's a Muslim family too, alhamdulillah. That's not that I play favorites, but it's cool. So it's just a beautiful thing. And it's all in there. We just have to strengthen the weak side so that they work together like Khalid bin Walid did. Man, think about what he did. He knew the details. He could picture it in his head. That was combined into his superpower. Think about what took place there. He knew the layout of the land. He figured out timing. This is a very attention to detail timing side. This is the big picture it's aware of time. This is aware of the minute, the details. This is the GPS side. In 1 minute, you're going to turn this way. In 2.5 miles, you're going to go that way. And this is the detail at exit exactly number, not about exactly. Okay. So this is the big scheme of things. And this is the attention to detail. Khalid had both of them. And the reason I say he leaned a little bit left is probably, well, number one, he had to be a phenomenally gifted right hemisphere guy because he was such a great warrior and a great fighter. And remember Hawla ibn Azar, bint Azar, Hawla radiallahu anha, the Black Knight, right? That we talked about her. Think about how physical, how skill set these two people were. And they see her fighting, right? And she is so coordinated, so good, such a skilled fighter, not just the big muscles of sword and spear and stick. Remember, she freed all of the female prisoners, and they beat the guys up with tent poles and got away. Not only with a tent pole, but swords and spears and knives and all that stuff. The big muscles that have to happen, and then the attention of the small motor units that control the detail sword and knife work, I'm sure. Think about what takes place there. So they see her fighting, and she's gifted. Her brother trained her. He was a great warrior, alhamdulillah. And they see her, and they think it's him. They think it's Khalid. They think Khallah is Khalid. May Allah be pleased with both of them. So think about the physical skill set these two people had. And in particular, Khalid bin Walid, radiallahu anh, had that attention to detail that he could estimate the journey of 3 different branches of an army, and his, which he broke into 3 different units. He time framed all of that detail work out because he knew the layout of the land, the details. He could estimate the time, and he got it right down to within minutes or hours. And they set up, and then they set up their camp. They went right through it and trapped him and did it. That's the brain, the parietal, particularly in this case, the parietal lobes and the temporal lobes working together with some. Well, and the reason I mentioned vision centers, because you can close your eyes like I am now, and you can still picture things. And imagine Khalid like Einstein. We talk about like a modern day genius, smartest man in the world, and all that stuff. Allah knows best. Khalid had to be one of the smartest men in history for him to be able to put all of that together in his head. And remember, the first battle he took over when the previous leaders were killed. When the previous leaders were killed, Khalid negotiated the exit without losing the rest of his military, because he was moving groups around and he'd rotate people in, and the enemy thought that reinforcements had come in and their army wasn't fresh. They didn't beat the Muslims yet, this small army, and now they're looking at what they thought were reinforcements coming in, and Khalid's just shifting different parts, maybe different banners, whatever the enemy was seeing as identification. They could see this rotation and this addition of other flags, other men, whatever. Even in the exit, he worked out the dynamics and got us out safely, and did not lose the entire army, and did not later lose Medina and then Mecca, did he? So you got to think about what takes place with all this brain function from the first story with my young patient and the sensory awareness to Khalid's awareness and the temporal lobes of being able to figure out the details of what he needed to do. He told people you had to ride as hard as you could, rest during the day, ride at night, or ride full time and rest when you can. That's the brain working together in its entirety. And then the occiput adding what we might say is the internal vision to be able to put this plan together. You can see things in your head. And Khalid did, mashallah, all of that. And one of the next reads I'd like to do is find a good Muslim-based book about his tactics that acknowledge that all of this was a blessing from Allah, but that he tied up his camel by taking his skill set and developing to the best ability that he could. Like I said, Khalid is a beautiful example of tying all of it together, including vision, because he could see it in his head. And again, one of the things we've got to remember about autism and why brain function is so important is because for most of our patients, and I'm simplifying it, a lot of the times we just have to ramp up the weaker side. We really do. Like in my case, I tend to be a little more right hemisphere, and I literally train in when we talked about when I throw on those the beads or whatever, and I'll wear a ring on this hand to stimulate that left hemisphere. I do daily planning. And what am I going to do tomorrow? And what am I going to, I'm going to get up. I'm going to pray Fajr. And I'm training in left hemisphere attention to detail stuff. I don't just let it sit in my head and get lost, right? I literally, tomorrow I'm going to get up at 6, pray, well, usually before 6, but the alarm is set just in case. I pray, I sit down at the computer, and I'm finishing up this book about the brain. So it's that. And some days I add a workout to it, depending on what my schedule is going to be at the office, because we are literally, there are times when I'm actually trying to restrain a kid because he's with the parents. So it gets kind of physically tiring. And depending on who we're seeing that day, and how much they've progressed is literally how I plan my workouts around my daily schedule. But it's that attention to detail that I'm trying to train in, if that makes sense. Excuse me. And then with that, like I said, what you can also do is memory games are really cool. There's a really easy memory game. What you're going to do is I might take a series of numbers, and we've gone over this before, really digit span. I'm going to give you the numbers front to back. And if it was as simple as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, and most adults can carry it out to 7, 6 or 7, I believe the number is. You should carry it out to about 7. And pretend it is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to say 1, you say 1. I say 1, 2, you say 2, 1. I say 1, 2, 3, you say 3, 2, 1. I say 1, 2, 3, 4, you say 4, 3, 2, 1. Now what you do is take 1 to 9 and mix those numbers together. Now, as you do that game, I'll have the numbers here in the order I am presenting them. If it's 1 and 5 and 3 and 7 and 9 and whatever else I have in there, I say the number. Now you've got to say 1. Then I say 1, 3, and you say 3, 1. And then I say 1, 3, 7, and you say 7, 3, 1. And then I say 1, 3, 7, 9, and you say 9, 7, 9, 3, 7, 1, if I said it right. And you go until you can't repeat it anymore. And then there's another game, and this is the test that, number 1, a gorilla passed it. Number 2, our president brags about passing it every year. They literally tell you 3 numbers. Say the nurse practitioner will come in, or the PA will come in and say, okay, remember this, and we're going to ask you about it. And they'll give you 3 words. And then 5 minutes later, someone will ask you the 3 words. Hopefully at 5 minutes, you should remember them in order. Then what they're going to do is about 30 minutes in, they should ask you again. And if the visit is an hour, they'll ask you again just before you leave. You should be able to remember 5 minutes in order. Then when you get to about 15 to 30, you should remember all 3 numbers. If they go out an hour, you should get 3, if at least 2 of the words. I keep saying numbers and words. Totally unrelated words. And try not to use colors, because colors stimulate a picture that's easy to remember. But those are memory games that you can play, and you can Google stuff up. Anything that stimulates memory, and then try to remember as much detail as you can about it. And then the occipital lobe is literally vision. I'll scroll up a little bit. Really cool ways. And again, we laser like crazy. Now, really nice. Most people can relate to landscapes and nature. So what you want is literally to look at a picture of a real or a virtual landscape. With that landscape, now what you want to do is pay attention to the color of the leaves, the color of the flowers, if it's a lot of thick trees, if it's a lot of smaller trees, if it's whatever the details are, tall grass, short grass, weeds, cleared through, whatever the case may be. If you see any fallen trees, you want as much detailed memory, visual work, as much detail in the memory, and then you repeat it and try to describe what you saw. Daytime, nighttime, sunrise. Well, you can't really tell sunrise or sunset all the time, but maybe the background of a picture will show more a reddish orange, or, whatever the indicators are. Nature walks are really cool because that also gives you the sense of smell, and smell is one of the most important stimulations to memory. So if you can affiliate a smell with a memory, you're in. And then you've got, like I said, visual stimulation of all kinds. We use colors, blue, green, and indigo to stimulate the right side and memory and vision. Red, yellow, and orange to stimulate the left side of vision and memory and your occipital lobe. And then eye movement exercise is really cool. I like the Brock string because you can make that at home. What you're going to do is take a shoelace. I should have What you do is you take a shoelace and you tie a knot in it close, right here. Tie a knot in it close, tie a knot in it about right here, and tie another knot in it out here at arm's length. Does that make sense? And what you're going to do is make them different colors. Use whatever color you want to. You could have a right hemisphere color scheme with blue, green, and indigo, whatever order. And then you have a left hemisphere, red, orange, and yellow, or whatever order. And you could take turns depending on what you feel like that day. And what you're going to do is focus your vision on each one. And the closer you get, the more intense your focus is. Really, that's really cool. The Brock string is an awesome device. And then when you're stimulating your parietal lobes, frontal lobes, temporal lobes, parietal lobes, remember this game. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this thumb way over here, and really cool with vision and parietal lobe first. You go horizontal, and it's called a pursuit. So I'm going to look at two thumbs, and then I'm going to keep my head here on this thumb, but I'm going to take my eyes with that one. So this is called a visual pursuit, great for parietal lobe, and you can hold it a little bit down because down vision stimulates up, and up vision stimulates down. So I'm really wanting to fire my occiput, my parietal lobes. So I'm going to go here, and I'm looking at that thumb, and I usually take it out to the corner of my eye. There, right there. I've got both eyes can see it. Now I'm pulling my eyes all the way across, right to there, and then I jump back with my eyes. Then I bring my hand in. So what you're going to do is follow with the eyes, pretend my head didn't move. Then what I do with my eyes on that, I follow them across, and then my eyes jump back, not the head. That was just an example. So the eyes go there, then jump back. The pull is the parietal lobe you pull towards. The jump back is the frontal lobe pushing it back. So I just did a right hemisphere stimulation. And then the horizontal stimulates more the parietal lobe, okay? And to the right. And then if I do it to the left, same thing. Pull, jump. Pull, jump. And that's left pull, parietal lobe, left push, jump, frontal lobe. And if I hold it down, it's parietal. If I go up, then also here I can do this. I can pull down. That is more parietal lobe. If I pull up, that's more temporal lobe, which is really cool. So you can use all of these. And then the saccade part is always the frontal lobe. That would be more together. So those just eye exercises are real easy to use. And of course, at the end, look at the shorts or look at the video to see these, because eye exercises, you don't have to pay anything for. You can do them right now. And we just stimulated literally vision using the eyes. We stimulated the parietal lobes by using the pull, right? We stimulated the frontal lobes by doing the jump, right? And then we did temporal by going up, and we did parietal by going down, and then the saccades were frontal lobe again. We just did with that just parietal, the pursuit and the saccades, the jumping part, just that follow pulling and that jumping saccade part, we just stimulated the whole brain. And that's how easy, or that'll be a benefit if you want to fine tune stuff. And then, of course, like I said, with the memory centers, the more detail you get, et cetera, and associate smells with it. And at our next talk, we can talk about the cerebellum, which is the small brain. Do we have any questions?
We have just a comment here from Brother Timothy. He said, thank you for finally hitting on the brain of Khalid bin Walid.
Alhamdulillah. Brother, you gotta go back into our other lectures and see where Khalid was. I might have it dated. I'll try to remember, right? My memory centers. I'll try to remember to look for it if I dated that lecture or not because I keep them all. I'll look to see if that talk is dated with Khalid, and I'll let you know, or I can tell you when I wrote it, about the time, so that you can jump back to the recording on Sunnah followers to see it. Because like that, mashallah, the skill set there, that's like not the same, but a modern day person, secular, was Kobe Bryant, in the sense that that cat talked about he wasn't the biggest, he wasn't the strongest, he wasn't the fastest, he didn't have the biggest hands, he didn't have the greatest skill set, but he had some athletic ability, and he also had a very strong left brain. Super competitive, right? That's a left hemisphere skill set, is competition and logic. And he decided to be great, or to be the greatest. He literally, his attention to detail and practicing 3 times a day, even in the off season. And if he was traveling, he at least worked out every day on his regular schedule. It's the attention to detail that these people, even in today's society, the people that pay attention to details, Cristiano Ronaldo, the soccer player, there's a lot of, and it's easy to see in sports. It's really easy to see in sport how they put a physical skill set, but they exemplify because they use that left hemisphere and they combine the two. And that's what Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu an. I mean, talk about a blessing from Allah for all of us and the example he gives us. I really have to find some good Sunnah books, and not just secular stuff describing tactics and techniques, about Brother Khalid radiallahu an, because talk about using both hemispheres like so close to a balance. I'm just, again, I'm glad you're impressed, because I am too, alhamdulillah. And in case you guys
Assalamu
couldn't
alaikum.
tell, the right hemisphere
Assalamu
tends to be very narrative, and that's why I talk a lot. Sister Jamila, sorry about that.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Yeah, I have two problems. I don't know which one I should make a decision of, but
Man,
spoke
say them
to
both.
yeah, I spoke to the neurosurgeon.
Mhm.
Okay, so I have two things going on. It's the trigeminal thing, and I did see the MRI. He explained it to me on that.
Yeah.
And also I have had too many strokes, like two.
Mm.
And I understand from other doctors that can lead to a massive one. So could you tell me which one is more severe than the other? Because I know he said with the trigeminal, it can, just since I'm already taking medication, so for
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
So which one is the more serious one? Is it the stroke or the trigeminal?
Well, the stroke is the stroke. Allah knows best. That can be crippling or life ending. So that would always rank number one. The trigeminal neuralgia. Is it neuralgia?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. The trigeminal neuralgia is pain along the trigeminal nerve.
Right.
It In a lot of cases, this is crazy. You're telling me this. I just got a call yesterday for someone that asked if our therapies would help her. Literally, and she lives here in Melbourne. Really cool. What you want to remember is, if it's a bacterial or no viral infection, usually, if that began the symptoms, literally your trigeminal nerve comes out right in your jawline, right near your TMJ. And what it does is that nerve gets irritated by the infection. And then when nerves get a direct irritation, that's the pain, isn't it? And because of that, you get a decrease in function, and the virus is irritating and attacking the nerve. Uh, Dr. Malil tells a great story about himself. He had a terrible one-sided trigeminal neuralgia, and it started to fail. And the MD told him, man, there's not a lot. Take these antibacterial just in case, antibiotics just in case. But if it's a virus, well, we're really in trouble. And he started to lose some function. What he did was he bought he said it was what, 20, 30 years ago. He put a TENS unit, little pads, and stimmed his face just to sensation, just so that the muscles twitched. And what he did was he stimmed it so that when the pain went away, rather than being left with a droop on that side, he tensed it up and gave it enough muscular stimulation that you can't even hardly tell anything happened. And when you look at him, if you don't know him, you don't see anything. You literally don't see anything. And his medical doctor, when he went back for the follow-up, could not believe the balance in his face and function. And he asked him, and he said, well, what I did was I followed through with the medication, and then I also tensed my face. You know, the little, $30 TENS unit. Boop, boop, put the pads on, turn it on real low. And once you get the twitch, the muscles are working, and that's how he got his face back. The stroke itself, you'd have to, with medical advice, where it is, and if you know do you know where the stroke was in the brain?
That part I don't know, because as he was showing me, the trigeminal surgeon was showing me what's sitting on that particular blood vessel, I guess, which is on the left-hand side, because he was saying he would cut in the brain there and fix whatever it is. He said that would work for like 85%, but the rest of it could be infection. You have to watch out for infection. So that's scary.
Yeah.
But on that nerve, what I did see, there's two white spots, one on one side and the other one, but one is sitting on that blood vessel. And I'm not sure if that slows down the blood flow. And yes, I do have a little drooping trying to happen on my left side. So that's the
left side of your
trigeminal.
face?
Yes. But I don't know where I had the 10 strokes at. Now I have to be truthful about that.
Yeah.
But I know something happened in 2022.
Mm-hmm. Well, the big thing for me when I think about strokes is you look at, if you're having facial droop on the left, number one, the trigeminal nerve involvement could be the great override. But if you're having no right-sided facial reactions, then most of the stroke damage would probably be on the right side, because that crosses over and controls the left side of your face. What you could do is look at, like what I was just talking about, pretend for the brain part, pretend you only did the vision exercises at the end of the lecture tonight. If those get posted, learn those. And again, I'm only talking to Sister Jamila, everyone else listen though, but I'm specifically targeting the right side of your brain based on a left facial droop. That's all I'm thinking about. It should be real safe for you to stimulate your right parietal lobe, your right temporal lobe, and your right half of your occiput. Well, it'd be both of them, actually. I can't deny that'll be both of them. And your right frontal lobe. That's what I'm going to show you. What you're going to do, again, like I said a second ago, is you're going to hold the hands up just off center a little, right to the edge of my right eye vision. There's both my eyes can see the thumbs. Now, the right parietal lobe is pull the thumb and follow it with your eyes. Whoops, went too far there. Both eyes are looking at it. If I want to go all the way out, I can. And then I'm going to take my eyes, my head moved a little, take my eyes and jump back, and then bring my thumb to it. I just stimulated, the pull stimulates the parietal, the jump back stimulates the frontal lobe, okay? Then both of those also stimulate the occiput area, the back of the brain, because it's vision. Now,
screen share down. They're saying so they can see it too.
I'm sorry, you didn't.
Stop your screen share so the people on YouTube can see too. They're saying.
Okay, what do I cut?
Just
Oh, I
stop your,
cut this. I see
just
the talk part.
stop it completely so they can see your whole body.
Stop my, okay, ready?
Yeah.
It's right here at the top. I'm going
Yeah,
stop share.
now they can stop. And now take your view and put yourself on gallery.
I'm gonna hit V. I'm gonna hit
Stop screen
view.
share and put
Eh,
yourself on gallery. There you go.
over.
Now they see. Now they see your.
You
Oh
guys got me?
no! Now they see Layla, not Sheba. Put the camera on. They just see my name. There you go. There you go. Now show everybody. Now they want to see you do the whole thing with her.
Y'all can see me?
Yes, they can.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now they.
Okay. Let me turn my camera so I'm centered there. I'm gonna look right at the screen, right dead center. Okay, so what we're gonna do, ready? Actually there. Now I'm gonna move my thumbs because I'm stimulating the right hemisphere only. This goes, then you do the other side for the left. Here, I've got it to the edge of my right eye vision right now. See how I'm off center over my left eye. So now I'm going to take my right thumb and I'm going to use that and I'm going to follow it with my eyes. That is all parietal lobe. You don't have to remember that part, but that's the upper part of your brain like this. I
Okay.
pull my eyes over, and then what I do, now I'm going to stimulate the frontal lobe because that pushes my eyes back, if that makes sense, okay? And then I bring my thumb back. Now I'm going to pull for parietal lobe, then I'm going to jump back for frontal lobe. Now I stimulated two areas of my brain with the hand movement and the eye movement, and I stimulated my occiput for vision. Now I'm going to raise it up a little bit. Let me scoot down. Now I'm going to raise it up a little bit because now when you're looking up with your eyes, that stimulates your temporal lobes a little bit more. So now my vision is actually the pull is parietal lobe and temporal lobes, okay? I want you to do both. Now the first one was about eye level, or it could even be a little down. The second one is going to be above eye level. Everybody sees my thumbs? There we go. Okay, so now I'm looking at the thumb and I'm pulling again, but it's a little higher. So that's stimulating parietal and temporal. And then my eyes jump back and it's still frontal. Does that make sense, sister?
Yes, I did that in physical therapy.
Oh, no way.
And I still have lots of I have vertigo and it's getting worse.
Okay,
So,
vertigo. Really cool.
Yeah.
Vertigo, that is going to have a lot of, believe it or not, we should be helping your, excuse me, parietal lobe is important for awareness with your vestibular system. With vertigo, what you're going to do, everyone, so you've got the pull high is parietal and temporal. The jumping the eyes back is frontal lobe. And of course, you use vision. That's it. So then high and low, right? Parietal lobe, temporal lobe. Now, vestibular and vertigo. Typically, now, is it you moving or the room moving?
The room used to move, but now it's like
all of it.
Let's put it like this. When I'm trying to read the Quran, I can only read one ayat without getting nauseated.
Wow.
So it's like my eyes are going back and, when you read an ayat, and when you get ready to read another one, I can only do it like just for a few minutes, maybe just read one line, but still it will make me nauseated.
Think about what takes place there. Your eyes are having a hard time. Vestibular, your eyes should be able to move separate from your head. They ought to be able to move together and they ought to see the same thing the whole time. You've had strokes, so the information pathways, the information pattern may have changed a little bit. What you can do, I'm going to look right at you. Pretend I'm staring at the light on where my camera is. I'm going to look right at the light. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my nose and my eyes. I hope my head looks straight. Yeah, I'm going to look at the dot. Now, what you're going to do is two things. You want to train in or train out. You want to be able to separate your eyes from your head. Hugely important. Like when you're walking down the street and you
Mhm.
should still be able to read signs without losing anything. You should be able to drive in a car or vehicle. Okay, what you're going to do is look straight ahead. And the
Okay.
first one, sit there securely, especially in an arm with arms. You're locked
Mhm.
in. Now, all I'm going to do is move my eyes side to side, and my head
Okay.
will stay steady. And I'm moving my eyes side to side. And if you can, take them to the end of your range of motion,
Okay.
going way over. Now, what you do, once, if that's okay for everyone in the audience, if that does not bother you, then what you do, the harder part, is moving your head from side to side while I keep my eyes right here. Okay. My
Okay.
eyes stay straight. Now I move my head to my end range of motion, my end
Okay.
range of vision. And I have my glasses on, so I just stop right inside. I could go farther, but now this is blocking it. So I go here. And now, usually the patients have to spend more time on the head turn than they do the eye movement.
Okay.
And once you get past the eye movement,
Mhm.
then the head movement, then what you do, it gets crazy. This is without anything else. Then what you do is you move your eyes. I'm going to move my eyes this way while I move my head away. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes. Yes.
So what I do is like I'm going to turn my head that way, but I'm going to jump my eyes to my thumb or whatever you want to look
Mhm.
at on the wall. It doesn't have to jump, but this so that you see where my target is. So I'm looking dead center on myself, and
Mhm.
now I'm going to move my eyes to my
Mhm.
thumb and back. My eyes to my thumb, well, I could go farther. Then there and there and
Oh,
there and there. That'll drive somebody crazy. That's number three, you build up to it.
yeah.
Those,
And try that.
those, pardon?
I haven't tried that part right there.
Yeah, that's a
You know,
challenge.
like,
When you go opposite directions, girl, you're pushing it on the edge. That's super hard. Um, those three together will really change vertigo. Then what you can do very safely, and you got to be able to do it. Don't jump ahead. Literally take your time and nail this stuff so that literally, like here, I'm going to move my head. I'm so bored with this, but I'm going to keep doing it to make sure when I stand up, I don't fall down. You know what I'm saying?
right, right,
So
right.
you own the safety and security, the good feeling inside. Then you do the opposite, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And then you do the opposite movement. And it can be real slow. Like I might be looking at the window curtain here and I can keep a line. So I just go there and I go to the opposite side, then I go to the opposite side and I just stay on that line. Those are three really good vestibular exercises. And then you can add like diagonals or
Yeah.
just eye movement up and down, eye movement up and down, then the
Yeah.
head movement up and down while the eyes stay steady. And it's really pretty cool. But the first three I mentioned are the core. And then you get up and then you try to do a standing. But that's a little bit down the road. Then you start from square one standing to
Mhm.
really get the whole involvement of balance and cerebellum and proprioception from the feet. Those are really good. But I got to tell you, that eye movement is really good brain training. I'm not lying. It's that is the basic, cheapest brain training you can do. And then you can also, like I said, you can use a Brock string to train the eyes to work together. And you might
Mhm.
find one eye, and then you can see which eye bothers you the most. If I'm looking right here and I look at it with my right, pretend there's different things like this is the farthest away knot I
Yeah.
talked about. Then I look at this one and it's okay. This one, my stomach starts to get upset. I do my left eye and none of the three upset my stomach. Then I know I've got to train my right eye more, if that makes sense with everything we just talked about.
Yeah, that does make sense. I'm gonna try. You gave me some new points, so I'm gonna try
Please.
some of it.
And look at the video. If we have shorts about this part, look at this just to make sure I didn't talk too fast and you forget.
No, like I said, I've had physical therapy for that.
Mhm.
for a whole month last year.
Yeah,
And as we did it, they did my balance and all that kind of stuff. And to me, it really didn't help that much. And I told them, I said, maybe this is something I have to live with because y'all have worked very patient with me.
yeah.
And but anyway, so I just wanted to try to get an idea which one is that's really needed first.
Brain
So
stuff.
I want to have I think I'll just go ahead and tell them I'd rather do have them to check out the stroke side because I don't want to stroke out here. You
No,
know.
that's man, that is the I gotta tell you, like I said, if you wanted to, just a light tens unit on the face is real safe and real simple. You
Yeah.
excuse me, you could spend maybe $30 on Amazon if you shop there, or you can go into a local drugstore up wherever you are and literally just buy a real cheap 2-pad, 1 or 2 setting tens unit, the cheapest one you can find with 2 pads, put them on and just tens the different areas, the different muscles. You literally want to
Right.
just stim those muscles, and that could make a huge difference in terms of feeding into the trigeminal nerve. That's cranial nerve number 5.
Mhm.
That is after vagus, which is number 10. That's the whole body. Cranial nerve 5 is the largest cranial nerve that comes off below your spine. It's like the vagus and the cranial and number 5, vagus and trigeminal nerve. Those are,
Mhm.
let me say this correctly. I believe those are the only two that come down below your skull here. They're so big.
Oh,
Cranial nerve 5 comes down to the second bone of your neck, and 10 goes everywhere. So if you can stimulate and get 5 stronger, that's going to improve brain function also. That's why I like the tens unit at the same time. If you're talking to a PT, ask them about it.
so that would be like a facial tens.
Yeah, what I do is literally, you know
Yeah.
what? Let me grab my phone. Let me type in. Um, this is how I do a lot of simple stuff if I'm not asking my kids to do something for me. Tens unit search. $18. It's a tens 3000 3-mode analog tens unit. That looks like the one I have right over here in my cupboard. Where do
Okay.
I get that one? It's from a group called Tens Pro. I'm actually gonna touch it. Let's see what it says.
Okay.
I'm not lying. Oh, wow. I think that looks like a good one. Let me see if,
Mhm.
oh, here we go. Let me
Okay.
enlarge and see what the dial looks like. That says it doesn't get big enough. Oh, yeah, that's a nice one. I would literally, I'd never used this one. It looks a lot like the one I have, including carrying case, but that's not the name of the company I bought it from. But it looks almost exactly like what I have over here on my shelf. Um, wow. I got to
So
tell
Can
you,
she get it from Amazon? Can she get it from
I didn't
Amazon?
even go on Amazon. I literally go right to over here. I literally go right to their website
oh,
called
that's what it is.
TENS
Mhm.
Pros, PROS, tenspros.com and see what they say. But you can also go
Okay.
to Amazon.
Okay. I'm gonna
But I
check
got to
that
tell
out.
you, that one for $18 looks like I'm really glad I found that because someone was asking us about an inexpensive tens unit at the office. And you can't beat that is so simple. I got to tell you, that looks like the one I still have one from how about that, what, 10 years ago, I think?
Mhm.
And it still works. You just change the batteries. Yeah, tenspro.com. Cool.
Okay, I'll try that out.
Yeah, that looks like I'm not lying. That looks exactly like the one uh looks just like the one I have. Ah,
Okay, I'll look it up. Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. Thank you for answering
Do
my
you have any
question.
arm and leg changes with a stroke?
I've had recently kind of scary, but I've had sort of like numbness from my arm all the way down to my fingers. And
Yeah,
I was trying to figure out what that's my left side where
yeah,
everything
yeah,
was going on. And I was saying, okay, I hope this is not my heart because I just had a new generator put in.
Okay.
So I've been having that, and my head, like if I get upset or something,
Yeah.
it feels like somebody got their foot pressuring down on my head. So if I'm going in the kitchen, I have to tiptoe in there, you know. So I'm just going through a lot. It's just a lot of things, and I'm trying to figure them out. But then the most important thing right now is that should I have the trigeminal or the stroke surgery?
I think the
So
stroke is hands down. We're talking
yeah,
brains.
okay, that was my main.
Inshallah.
That helps me make a decision. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Welcome.
All right, everyone. What we'll do is next week, we're going to review a little bit of the cerebellum. And if we have time, I'm going to take it into personalities again, unless I have a great office story. And but inshallah, next week we'll talk about the cerebellum. We'll be finishing up any general brain functions and why you would want to stimulate it and how to stimulate it. If you have any questions at all, type them up, right, save them, and we can cover all the lobes. We'll also be moving towards, I'll remind you guys of hemisphericity and the strength of the right brain and the left brain. And that's hugely important to autism. Primitive reflexes and hemisphericity are the two of the greater overrides in what we do. So inshallah, that's what we'll do for next week. Don't forget Sister Layla's class tonight. I think you're having a quiz. Hopefully you guys studied, and inshallah, you'll all do well.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, sister. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. What
Wa
about
alaikum salam.
ADHD? What part of the
Yes.
brain does that affects that, and what do you do about it?
Yeah, absolutely. That is, I'm going to be real. We can get in depth, but if it's okay, picture ADHD, and then at this level, and then autism is severe ADHD on steroids.
Oh, wow.
So darn near everything I've said about autism, ADHD is less.
Okay.
But it's the same. It's I want to say, don't think of it as too strong a word though. When I'm talking about ADHD and autism, well, first, ADHD is what? Attention deficit hyperactive disorder.
Right.
Okay. So
Meaning,
with,
meaning, meaning
okay,
they can't
meaning,
sit still. They hear everything
but
coming
but
in. They
but
get all that.
now add the override of the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. Hugely important. We'll try to figure out when I gave you the hemispheric lecture and you can look at it again. But the right hemisphere, think about what happens. Pretend the right hemisphere is too strong. Most of the time it's a left, but pretend it's a right. You could actually have a child that pays too much attention because the right hemisphere is what keeps us alive. I always use the story of pretend you're running around and where I grew up in upstate New York, and there were woods, and we'd be out there, and there are such things as bears and foxes and stuff like that. During hunting season, people come from all over the country to hunt in our area, so we had to be aware of that. So imagine my right hemisphere is geared to keep me alive. I hear stuff, African savanna, the tall grass when I lived in South Africa. Man, you look out at that stuff, and it's true. That grass can be tall where we lived in the plains and savanna area. So you're looking out there, pretend you're a hunter and you're looking for dinner. The right hemisphere hunter is the guy that has a big picture view. Both the right hemisphere hunter and the left hemisphere hunter look over and they're like, man, something moved. Both of them. Left hemisphere hunter says, oh, but I don't see the grass moving anymore. He goes back, short-term attention span. He goes back and he's focused on something, the purpose. He's short-term attention. I'm hungry. I'm going to feed us and we're done. The right hemisphere says, you know what? Lions stop moving also. So he's here, then he's back over there. He's here, he's back over there. The right hemisphere hunter is going to make sure you don't get eaten while reminding you you're out there hunting to get something to eat. The left hemisphere hunter already forgot about the moving grass.
So
He
how does
didn't.
that play into schoolwork when you're trying to do
There
your
you go.
schoolwork?
The right hemisphere kid, picture the left hemisphere kid. He looks like he's focused on the teacher. He's focused on his work. He's right here, right now, and he is done. The right hemisphere kid, left hemisphere looks like a great student. The right hemisphere, he's paying attention to everything. That's his superpower. What happens is, when I was younger, I could not sit near a window or near the door or in the back. I was the kid they put up front because when I was in the back or of the window, I looked out into the, movement and outside the window. Upstate New York, windows might be open. We didn't have
So
AC in elementary.
you have ADHD, is that what you're telling me?
I could, I
Okay.
could. And
I'm
but I'm a
asking this
right.
question for my grandson and go straight to the point. You know how I am. I'm left brain. I want to know
I
what
know
you're
you
talking
are.
about. Okay.
Now, tell me more about your grandson, though. Is he right or left? Do you think? Is he
Don't
attention
know.
focused?
He's all
Or
I know is he has ADHD.
Oh, I'd have to actually meet up with him. What you can do is look at, that's why I'm saying the attention part could be he's hyper focused and what the teacher is talking about. Now he's not interested. If it's not important to me, I'm
Yeah.
not interested. I'm focused
Right.
on something else. If
Okay.
it's a right, that's left. If it's a right hemisphere ADHD, he's looking into the hallway because he wants to make sure he's safe. He's looking out the window because it grabbed his attention. You know how hard it is for a right hemisphere person to look at the board, get my attention on it, then look down at my notes to write a note. Then by the time I figure out what I'm doing, I'm a couple conversations lost from the teacher and I miss notes. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, it makes sense.
so read your grandson and try to figure out if he's hyper focused and he's missing something, right? The teacher says something super important. He starts like, oh, 1863, and this happened, and that happened, and this happened. And they know details like nobody's business. They get lost in the details. Right hemisphere people get lost in the distraction and the change.
Well, what I heard, but okay, for him, if it's not okay, he played football. He loved that. He could do that.
I
But
played football.
so now when it comes down to the schoolwork, if the mess ain't what he like, he got to make himself do it.
Then he's probably right also. What you can do there is remind him, like in his case, you can goal set in terms of he knows what he wants to do, I'll bet. He wants to play football, he wants to be good at it, he wants to be a great athlete. Train in, teach, it's hard. I'll say it easy, but it's hard. Try to get him to understand that if he can practice paying attention in class, he'll get better at paying attention to the offense or defense. He'll
No,
learn
no,
his
no.
plays.
Listen, no, it ain't that.
Go.
He his daddy stopped him from playing football, okay, because his
Okay.
grades is down and he needs
Yeah,
to get his
yeah.
grades up. So
Gotcha.
now he got to focus on how he was focused on that football on his grades. So how do I
Yeah.
tell him to do that?
That's a question where you say, grandson, what is your goal? I want to play football again. What do you have to do it?
Okay.
That's
And
really
that'll be that drive for that right, not for that left side. Which side?
yes. Yes. If you can show him, and he already knows, if I get my grades up to what is it, a C or a B or whatever it
Mhm.
is,
Mhm.
if he can get there and he gets his reward, then he understands he may not still doesn't have to like it, but he understands the importance. And eventually he may grow into it. It's hard. The right hemisphere is big picture and like you say, sports because it usually comes easy for us. And we lose it in the details. And that's what schoolwork is. Schoolwork is the details.
Yeah. So boring.
It's It really is. I got to
He
tell you,
said
I
he
didn't
liked
get in.
history though, so he can get
Oh,
into that.
really?
What he liked, he can get into it. But the rest of
That's
that mess, he
interesting.
don't like it, so he ain't into it. But he got to do the mess he don't like in order to
Absolutely.
pass.
And if
So
it's
what do
math or English, that's almost always a left hemisphere thing. You could actually do to strengthen his left hemisphere. Now you're going to teach him the vision stuff of pull to the left with the eyes and then jump back to the right. Pull to the left, jump back to the right. And that's the left hemisphere. And that's also really important in sports because it's coordinated eye movement. Sports is all about eye movement. Literally, sister, have him as simple as this is there with my eyes, jump back with my eyes, there with my eyes, jump back with my eyes. That
mm,
exercise by itself stimulates this and that for him. And that's your commitment stuff. Then, if you do it above eye level, you can involve the temporal lobe, which is focused attention. You've got your verbal skills are right here and right in this area right here. Don't worry about that. But this, if you do it above his eye level, see how my hands are above? If you pull, that's here and here, and then you jump back, that's here. You'll stimulate all four, including the occiput. You'll stimulate all three areas of the left hemisphere with that one exercise by itself. Done.
not clear? So that's gonna make him want to do his schoolwork.
That will improve the strength of his left hemisphere, which means it's easier for his left hemisphere to help him do his work, even if he doesn't like it.
I think I heard you, but you kind of went blah blah blah.
I'm
All right,
sorry.
alhamdulillah. Thank you. That's all
Okay.
right. Thank you. I'm good.
All right. Look at the video. Maybe that'll make it
I
clearer.
will. I'll look at it. Yeah.
That's my storytelling. A lot too much extra stuff, probably. No, I wish I could be more precise and detailed, but I just can't. I can't tighten myself down half the time.
Don't trip. That's you. That's the brain things you going through. I understand.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. All right, inshallah, everyone. Then we'll talk next week. We'll go over a little bit. If you have questions, literally write them down and ask me, and we'll cover all that stuff next week. And I'm going to try to add a personality in there, and then we'll jump into some hemispheric stuff that we can apply the personality of the Sahaba and Sahabiyat to. Inshallah, we'll all talk soon. Let me finish appropriately. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.